Well, my friends, I, like you, am stuck in my house during the coronavirus outbreak. And short of climbing the walls, I decided to do some creative things. It's like editing these videos, which is a perfect time sink for when you're stuck inside and need something to do. Now, I originally shot these to have a record of my mom's cooking so that I could always be able to make the food that I grew up on, which was very important to me. She has no recipe guide, nothing written down. It's all by taste and instinct, and I wanted to share these with you. First up is chicken cacciatore. I don't know if it's an actual chicken cacciatore recipe by the definition online, but here's Isabel's chicken cacciatore, Panamanian style. So enjoy. So ingredients: chicken, salt, pepper, garlic, peppers, sweet peppers is what's being used here, oregano, dried but fresh is better, cilantro, fresh, celery, whole peppercorns, tomato sauce, 2 small cans, and a little bit of oil. So you'll need a chicken, number one. Mom is using a whole chicken, but you can use thigh and leg quarters to avoid all this cutting up she's doing here. Avoid using breast meat as it's very dry. Mom cuts the breast meat off for another meal. If you buy thighs and legs, you save yourself the trouble. Now, my mom is removing the skin from this chicken. For me, personally, I leave the skins on because it creates a little bit more oil in the sauce. I think it makes it a little more flavorful. She's worried about my health, so she takes the skin off, and she doesn't like chicken skins. So second step is to wash the chicken. Once that's done, drain the water out and start prepping your ingredients. Then we have sweet peppers. Wash them and chop them finely. Take all the pips out. She's probably using 6 to 9 here. If you're using a bell pepper, it would probably be about a pepper and a half. Garlic, probably my mom's favorite ingredient. She uses a lot, at least half of this bunch. I think she almost used 3/4 of the bunch on this, maybe even more. I'm not sure. It's to your taste. So if you're not a garlic fan, this recipe ain't for you, and I pity you. About half an onion. Yellow is used here. Slice and finely chop. You can use other types of onions. I don't recommend using red onions because it'll probably the taste is a little bit different. Vidalias might work. I don't know, but we're just using a yellow onion here. First slice and then finely chop. Pepper, whole pepper. This is probably about a full teaspoon. Crush it. She has like a wood crushing bowl here. Salt. Use the salt here in a wood crushing bowl or something similar, and crush your garlic on the salt. It prevents it from flying out. You may use a garlic press or something like that. The thing is, it really helps the salt that the garlic is infused into the salt. I think it's part of her sort of like special sauce for this. So try this version of it, see if it works for you. Add the crushed peppercorns, and then we want to add the peppers and the onions to the waiting chicken in the saucepan. Then add the garlic. And as you can see here, my mother takes the garlic masher that she's using and actually like wrings the garlic into the chicken. She believes in like using every possible bit and no waste. So take a second saucepan and heat it on the stove, high heat. This is one of the things that I think that really helps this recipe, and I've made this recipe before myself, and I never saw my mother do this part of it. She stirs all the ingredients together for a while, and she really mixes all the vegetables, all the garlic, all the salt, all the pepper, all those ingredients together before she puts it on the fire. She's not just dumping the vegetables in a pan and cooking. And I really think this infuses that chicken with that flavor, and I think this is a very important step. So she has an empty saucepan here. So she dumps the chicken and the mix into that pan, and she starts to cook it to when it gets white. There's a certain amount of touch and bounciness that the chicken gets that suggests when it's done. But she cooks it for a good long while. I would say probably about 5 to 8 minutes. So meanwhile, go over and get your celery and start cutting that up, and cut up your cilantro. That's going to be added in later. So now that you've done that, drop in a little bit of oregano. So the chicken is nice and cooked now, and in the old saucepan here at the top of the screen, she has added water to that mixture that was left in there. So once you add the sauce, scoop up the water and get the excess sauce in the can that's been left behind and add that. I would say she adds about 3/4 of a cup worth of water if you measured it. Stir the sauce mix in and bring to a light boil. Then we're going to go over to our cilantro and celery, and we're going to cut that up if it hasn't been cut up yet, and if it has been cut up, we're going to take that and add it in. So now we're going to go and get that long forgotten cilantro. He's been over there. He's been waiting so long. All the other vegetables are in the pot. They're partying and having a great time, and he's sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting. But now is the time when we're going to add him. Cover, and then lower the heat to like 2, 3. It depends on your stove, how hot your stove is, or if you're using an electric range, but on the low end. But make sure that you're frequently stirring it, like I would say every couple minutes. And we're going to cook it. It's not an exact timing thing. I would say 25 to 30 minutes. You may want a little less, you may want a little bit more. Okay, here she's checking it, and you see how it's kind of a little bouncy. So that's the texture you want out of the chicken. You don't want it to be rubbery, but you want it to have a little bit of, you can push it, it's not soft, it has a little bit of bounce to it. And that should indicate that it's pretty done. If you do it the Panamanian way, you want to serve it over rice, which you can see in the rice cooking pan that she has in the top of the screen, and preferably with some plantain bananas and a little bit of salad. So that's the recipe. Enjoy eating it. Now, if you liked this video, which I know you did, because you're at the end of the video and you're listening to me still, so you must have liked the video. Subscribe, like, and there'll be other videos. Next week we're looking at doing sancocho, which is the Panamanian soup variant, and it's complicated but simple and amazing and tastes delicious, and it's relatively easy to do. So if you like this video, please subscribe and like, and I'll shoot out another one next week.